Okay, folks, we've come back. Let's start case 29 in Coyote Gorge. Thanks to Veronica, Vivian, and Daniela. Bloodbath. Matthew, I can't believe we're finally going to put Vittorio on trial for his crooked land grab scheme. I thought we'd never be able to get him. He's been evicting farmers all over Coyote Gorge, stealing their lands and reselling them for a fortune to the railroad company, claiming this is all done legally. But thanks to Vinny Costa feeling remorse for accidentally killing one such farmer on Vittorio's orders, we've now got a prime witness ready to testify against Capesci. He's been offered an early release for his testimony, which means we've had to keep him safe in Providence Town, where the trial will be held. With Rose standing guard, there's nothing to fear. I hope you're right, Matt. I hope you're right. Matthew, it's almost time. Let's go meet Vinny at Fat Chance Saloon and escort him to the trial. All right. And here we go. Oh my. Matchbook. Oh no, that's Vinny Costa.
Public school students in Hawaii are expected to spend less time testing next school year. Honolulu Star advertiser reports the Board of Education is making changes. Smarter assessment continues.
Sweet mother of pearl, Matthew. That's Vinny Costa there in the bathtub, but he's dead. How could this have happened? And where is Rose? She was supposed to be guarding him, not leaving him alone to get his throat slashed. Matthew, you're here. I just went to fetch you. Vinny was in the bath when I heard an explosion outside. I went to see what it was, but when I returned, he was dead. Someone must have set a diversion to get you away from the room. This is a catastrophe, Matthew. Vinny was our sole witness against Vittorio. Without him, we've got no case. Rose, we're going to need to speak with you to get all the details of what happened. And Matthew will need any clues he can find to get Vinny's killer, like that matchbook. There's a message on it. You're in hot water now. Given the fact Vinny was killed while in the bath, this sounds like a most appropriate threat. The fingerprints on the matchbook could help us, but we'll need to dust them for a clean sample. Matthew, someone got word Vinny was in our custody and silenced him before the trial. No doubt on Vittorio Capesci's orders. We must find them before they slip out of town for good. Come up to the case number of my age. And I'm gonna get some stars. So sit tight, everybody. Okay, folks. I'm gonna examine the matchbook first before I talk to Rose. There we go. Matthew, now that we have clean fingerprints from the matchbook, we can search our archives for a match and hopefully find the person who threatened Vinny. Alright. Alberto Salucci, Al Salucci. Okay. Matthew, the fingerprints on the thread are a match for a man by the name of Alberto Al Salucci. Al Salucci, he's the owner of the saloon where we were keeping Vinny. So instead of making sure Vinny would be kept safe, Mr. Salucci left a thread in his room. Let's go talk to him, Matthew. Mr. Salucci, your establishment was supposed to be a safe place for Mr. Costa, but you neglected to inform Chief Wright of your own grudge against the victim. What did you mean by saying he was in hot water? Vinny was in trouble with the law now, wasn't he? I thought I'd drop him a message in appreciation of this predicament. Left it on his food tray. It could be considered an idle threat if Mr. Costa hadn't then been found murdered in his room. Is that supposed to make you nervous? Lady, this is Coyote Gorge. You can't take a leak without whizzing on a dead body. Anyway, if it'll help, Senior Trooper Matthew, you're free to search the saloon bar downstairs. The killer must have gone through there. You might find some clues, or at the very least, a tempting beverage. Ornate case. Stars now. Matthew, we know the killer had to come through here on their way to and from the murder. They must have left a clue in their passing. You're right, that ornate case seems rather out of place here. If you can crack that lock, we'll have a look inside. I'm as determined as you to catch our culprit, but I don't think we'll find much in a spittoon. All that spit and tobacco, I can't stomach searching through that thing. I'll let you handle it, Matthew. Alright. This could be their second calling. I mean, clearly it has. They have 9 world titles and 1 silver. That was something very unbelievable. Was inside a little picture. A medallion. Matthew, I admit, you're bolder than I am for sifting through that foulness. However, your daring is paid off as you found some sort of charm in the spittoon. And the charm is covered in blood. Perhaps the victim's blood. Could this belong to our killer? We must send it to Viola immediately. And why don't I talk to Rose right now? Matthew, I only ever left Vinny's side to use the toilet, and I lock the door every time. You also mentioned an explosion out in the street? Yes, just a short while ago. I ran outside to see what it was, making sure to lock the door behind me. But when I got outside, there was no one there. The explosion was a distraction. So I ran back to Vinny's room. The door was still locked. However, when I came in, I saw Vinny lying there, dead. Matthew, I'm so sorry. How could I fall for that trick? Well, there's no undoing what's been done. I'm sorry, but you'll need to return to the airship, Rose. We have no choice but to treat you like a suspect. I understand, Matthew, but don't hesitate to ask me for any help. AE9, UNB, oh no, TSW. Keen observation, Matthew. That ring inside the case does look similar to one we've seen before. You're right, this ring looks exactly like Vittorio Capecchi's ring, only this one has the initials FC on it. FC as in Franca Capecchi, Vittorio's wife who we met in Devil's Ridge? Vittorio might not be here, but his wife certainly is. And with Mr. Costa murdered the day that he was set to testify against her husband, this puts Mrs. Capecchi at the top of our suspect list. Let us go speak with her at once. Mrs. Capecchi, we meet again. Why are you here, and where is Vittorio? Mamma mia, you people again. I can't throw a macaroni away without you showing up. I don't know where is Vittorio. I'm his wife, not his mother. Maybe he's on vacation. He has been a little stressato these days. I hardly believe Vittorio is vacationing knowing Mr. Costa was about to testify against him. That is, until Mr. Costa was murdered, which makes your presence here very coincidental. Vinny was murdered? Dio mio! I heard about this ridiculous trial, so of course I come to support Vittorio. But now Vinny is dead and Vittorio has disappeared, and I'll have to deal with this. It's always like this with that man. Insupportable. And I'll see you guys when these two are done. See y'all then. Okay, folks, we have come back. I'm currently under unlimited energy happy hour, so let's go ahead and get the medallion results. Matthew, as always, your instincts were flawless. The blood on that charm you found in the spittoon was indeed the victim's. The charm you found is actually a watch fob, a chain or short leather strap onto which you attach a pocket watch in order to secure them to clothing. This particular fob is of the famous trick rider himself, Buffalo Bill. It's a souvenir from his show. I've seen the show. They do the most amazing antics on horseback while shooting their guns. They do indeed. It's all part of Buffalo Bill's Eastern Rodeo show, and it's quite the sight. A sight your killer seemed to be fond of as well. So our killer is a fan of Buffalo Bill's show. No trick riding in the world can stop Matthew from catching them.
My K-12 education helped me to get a full scholarship to college. I thank my mom every day for putting me in K-12 school.
And let's go ahead and speed up the autopsy. Matthew, did you know cowboys like to bathe with their hats and boots on? They need to be ready and to run at a moment's notice. That explains the victim's state of dress, or undress, but I doubt his bathing habits can tell us anything about this murder. Well, I did get a very clean corpse, except for all the blood from his gouged throat. The wound indicates the killer used a jagged implement to slash Vinny's throat. Being that he was sheltered in a saloon, my guess is it was a broken bottle. Furthermore, on his otherwise clean hair, I found traces of whiskey and orange pulp. Whiskey and orange pulp? I know what that makes, a whiskey punch. And how I'd love one right about now. The killer must have pulled Vinny's head back in order to cut his throat, therefore transferring their whiskey punch onto the victim's hair. And this means, despite prohibition, our killer drinks whiskey punch. Matthew, your murder conviction will certainly pack a punch the killer won't see coming.
But our promise never wavers. We live here.
Matthew, we came to this part of Coyote Gorge to put Vittorio on trial for stealing land away from the population only to resell it for a fortune to the railroad company. Vinny was ready to testify against him, but our efforts to keep Vinny safe by hiding him in the saloon before the trial proved futile. He was nearly beheaded in his bath. Vinny's timely murder is too coincidental for it to be pure luck. Vittorio must be behind this. To make things worse, we've had to add Rose to the list of suspects, even though it's obvious the killer set up a diversion to get her away from the room long enough to strike. And although no one's seen neither hide nor hair of Vittorio, his wife Franca is in town. Could he have sent her to do his dirty work for him? And finally, there's Mr. Salucci, the saloon owner. He seemed to take pleasure in Vinny's unfortunate predicament. Perhaps he terminated Mr. Cox's saloon stay for good. Matthew, something strange is going on in town. The townspeople are packing up and moving out. What? Oh my goodness.
You're okay with this, Mr. Toy?
We'll have to find out why in Chapter 2. Alright folks, we have come back. Let's start Chapter 2 of Bloodbath.
It's 4:45. I gotta be in court 4 hours.
Okay, you go ahead. About time Munch got his phony ass out of bed for some religion. Thanks.
Now, I already know what happened prior to this, so...
Jamie and his father found comfort and healing here on many occasions. Ask my brothers and sisters.
Why Jamie need healing?
He had demons.
They're leaving by the carriage full.
Curl himself
The townspeople are leaving? Whatever for?
swear, bang
I
his
don't
head.
know. I just saw people on Main Street piling up their belongings and loading their carriages. It's as if they're preparing for something.
Excuse me, ma'am.
The last time people left the town, it was because Vittorio had threatened them with death. Matthew, we need to go back to Providence Town immediately.
Jamie's in a better place.
The only better place Jamie would be is at home with his parents. Sorry, this is just really upsetting.
Miss Fleming, your professional opinion, was Jamie possessed by the devil?
Jamie had ADHD with conduct disorder and epilepsy. You don't believe me? Speak to his doctor.
I worked with Jamie for nearly a year. It'd be a real help. When a child has both a behavioral and an organic disorder, one exacerbates the other.
What did you do for Jamie?
Gave him medication for epilepsy and therapy for the ADHD. He's steadily improving. He could be a sweet kid. Funny, loving, inventive.
Buffalo Bill poster.
He's dead.
Isn't that Mario Plummer?
Yes, Jamie's caseworker. She's great with kids. He's quite fond of her. I thought we had
There we go.
problems under control, but there was always a chance of having a seizure.
Did he die from that?
There is a rare syndrome called sudden unexpected death in epilepsy.
How does that happen?
Not taking one's meds or mixing them.
Alright.
Rob is on the run again.
Matthew, it definitely looks like people left in a hurry. This can't be good. We better solve Vinny's murder fast. You think that revolver might be a lead? Then we better decipher the faded engraving on the barrel. But what's with the supply crate? It's all charred. You're right. Rose said she heard an explosion in the street. I bet you that crate was what the killer blew up to lure her away from Vinny's room. Quick, we must search through what's left of it. And that's a Buffalo Bill show poster, and we know our killer is a big fan of his. There seems to be a note on this poster, but it's faded. A good dusting will tell us to whom this poster was dedicated. Let's get to work, Matthew.
It's her fault. Asked for help and didn't get it.
And if a jury buys it, Sam can walk.
What are you going to do? Play him out?
No way. He killed that kid. Question is, who do I try first? If I go with Sam and put Marielle on the stand, she can't testify without incriminating herself. But I don't want to give her immunity.
What's your gut tell you?
Put the facts on the record. Catch on the fish before I go for the big one.
Alright, I'm gonna get some stars. So sit tight, everyone. Alright. Got myself up to 20, even though I had enough from the beginning. A show poster. Matthew, the signed dedication on the Buffalo Bill poster reads, Joan, hope you had a rip-roaring good time at my show. Didn't we meet someone named Joan just recently? Yes, that's it. That rough bounty hunter we met at Stonewall Prison, Catastrophe Joan. This poster must be hers, which means Catastrophe Joan likes Buffalo Bill just like our killer. And that also means we need to find Catastrophe Joan at once.
If she'd made any visits that she fraudulently claimed to have made, or returned any one of the phone calls, Jamie would be alive.
2.
She turned her back on him. That is child endangerment. This time you must blame social worker. Find Marion.
Let's talk to Catastrophe Joan. If it isn't Catastrophe Joan, we haven't seen you since our investigation at Stonewall Prison. What brings you to these parts? Well, well, it's the Flying Squad again. It's always a pleasure to see you folks. Except for Rose, that is. I heard you were in town ready to take on the notorious Vittorio Capesci. I just had to come and see it for myself. That trial is going to be the biggest show on earth. I'm just going to sit back with my flask of whiskey punch and take it all in. Unfortunately, there won't be a trial. Our star witness was murdered. Well, I'll be. Your witness was murdered? Ain't that a shame? I was really going to enjoy it all too, although I wasn't really sure how you actually thought this would work. Vittorio's one slippery son of a gun.
It's blood. That finally ID the cheese grater. Serology found skin cells and cheese fragments.
Somebody dragged the cheese grater across the kid's skin. How old is the bloodstain?
At most, a few days. Otherwise, the blood would oxidize completely.
But Jane didn't have any other marks on her.
Burned tin can. Matthew, I'm not sure what exactly this charred contraption you found in the burned crate, but I'm certain Charlie will know. Let us send this contraption to him at once, Matthew.
Go talk to Marielle, see if she made another understandable mistake.
12 hours. Westwood. Matthew, according to the name on the barrel, this revolver belongs to a certain Westwood. Does the name ring a bell? You met a cowboy with that name back on the Gauls farm? Then chances are this gun belongs to him. And if Mr. Westwood is in town, he may have information to share about Vinny's murder. Let's go find him, Matthew.
I bet you are. Just tell me where she is and how I can find her.
I don't know. Hello? Just
Mr. Westwood, we found your gun. We see you made it over here from the Gauls farm.
Yo, who the hell you calling?
Howdy, ma'am. Senior Trooper Matthew. It's a pleasure to see you again. Have you been in town long? We're investigating the murder of Vinny Costa, and any information you can give us would be valuable. Sorry, ma'am. I just got here. Was passing through hoping to find some work. I like stopping at Fat Chance Saloon when I'm in town. Al, the owner, makes the best whiskey punches this side of Concordia River, on the sly, of course. Although now that I think about it, I do remember that city slicker Costa. He looked like he was playing dress-up, more of a thug than a real cowboy. That kind usually comes to a bad end around these parts. Right. Well, most of the town's inhabitants have inexplicably packed up and left. But if you could be so kind as to stick around for now, we might have need for you later. I'll let the charred cannons run its course. See y'all then. Alright, folks, we have come back. Let's get the results of the chart cans right now. Matthew, nice to see you. And Madeline, you're looking ravishing today. Charlie, I look like this every day. You know, I was thinking we could go on another outing together. There's a place where people can... Apologies, Matthew. We'll discuss this later. Back to the object you found in the street. It's an explosive device. An explosive device? Matthew, this object must be what the killer used to lure Rose away from Vinny's room. To create this explosive, the killer filled the two tin cans with gunpowder before using this handkerchief as a makeshift wick. This remaining bit of handkerchief has some sort of symbol on it. A little digging showed this symbol is of a poker competition, more specifically the annual Coyote Gorge Poker Tournament. So our killer plays poker. Matthew, the cards are stacked against them with your winning hand. With poker being such a favorite pastime at the saloon, we should return and search it once again. Torn photo. Matthew, that wallet you found belonged to Vinny, and it's empty. This wallet should have been locked up in the room with Vinny. What's it doing down here? Let us get a sample of that clear substance on it. Perhaps it can tell us how it ended up here. And you think that torn photo could be a clue? I'll get the adhesive strip. And I'm going to handle everything now since I'm a little bit behind. Well, I'll be jiggered, Matthew. That photo is of our victim, Vinny Costa, looking rather intimate with Franca Capesci, Vittorio's wife. Were Vinny and Franca involved romantically? Seeing as Franca omitted telling us about her relationship with Vinny, let us inquire exactly what she was cooking up. Oops. Back so soon, Senior Trooper Matthew? Mrs. Capesci, we found a photo of you and Vinny Costa together, looking very intimate. Were you two having an affair? Thanks for the whiskey punch in the face. It's the closest I've come to drinking in weeks. You're lucky I don't arrest you for that. You shouldn't come here asking such questions. Me and Vinny, affair? Preposteroso. Vinny was a friend, an amusement you could say. I knew his family, so I took Vinny under my wing. However, Vinny proved to be a disappointment. He didn't enjoy playing poker or even going to see Buffalo Bill. And then he went and turned on my husband. All that I did for him, and this is how he repays me? By betraying us? His familia? One would say betrayal is the strongest motives for murder. Mamma mia! Murder? No, I prefer manicotti to murder. Matthew, now that you have a sample of that clear substance on our victim's empty wallet, we shall send it to Viola post-haste. $12, and I'll see you guys when this is done. See y'all then. Alright folks, this is Matthew. We have returned. Let's get the results of the clear substance. Oh boy. Matthew, tell me, what do you think of my facial hair? My, Viola, don't you look dashing with that mustache. It's one of my theater props. I thought I'd take on the role of a man next. I do find it rather itchy, though. I have no idea how Bontemps handles it. Anyway, as it happens, the sample from the victim's wallet you sent me was also related to a mustache. It was wax. Mustache wax? Matthew's right. We do know someone with a mustache. Al, the saloon owner. If Al had his waxy hands on Vinny's wallet, we need to find out why. Off to see Mr. Salucci we go. Why his mustache wax is on the victim's wallet? Mr. Salucci, we found your mustache wax all over Vinny's wallet. Care to tell us how it got there? So you found that, huh, Senior Trooper Matthew? Fine, I swiped the wallet when I went up to give Vinny and that one-armed lady their food. Vinny was constantly coming in here, cheating me at cards and taking all my dinero. Made me look like a fool every time. At first, I let him get away with it on account of him being Vittorio's man, but no one does that to me for long. So you took advantage of the fact he was staying here and got your revenge. Bosh! I didn't kill that man, but I did steal his wallet and took all the money he had in there as payback. He owed it to me. Matthew, we were thrilled when Vinny Costa agreed to testify against Vittorio in his land grab scheme. But that was before we found Vinny lifeless in his own locked room. The only one with the key was Rose, now a suspect in the investigation. Nobody else should have been able to get inside, but someone must have. Franca Capesci had once taken Vinny under her wing and now feels personally betrayed by his decision to testify against the gang. As for Al Salucci, he wasn't happy about Vinny's card-cheating ways. I wonder if he took more than his money in order to even the score. And although Catastrophe Joan and Clay Westwood seem to have been just passing through, we'll need to keep an eye on them as everyone's a suspect in this case. Matthew, we just received an urgent package, and it says it's for you. Urgent mail for Matthew? Well, let's open it then. Ah! A snake! Matthew, help! Holy God. We'll have to find out why that snake is there in Chapter 3. See y'all then. Glad you stayed with us. It's time now for Chapter 3, rather, of Bloodbath. Matthew, Vinny Costa was supposed to be our star witness against Vittorio Capesci, helping to finally bring him to justice. But instead we found Vinny dead in the very room where we endeavored to keep him safe before the trial. The door was locked, but somehow the killer got in, and now we have no witness and no idea where Vittorio could be. Matthew, we just received an urgent package, and it says it's for you. Urgent mail for Matthew? Well, let's open it then. Oh my God. Ah, a snake! Matthew, help! Someone get it away from me! Ooh, a rattlesnake. I've been wanting to study one for ages. Thank you, Matty. Do as you wish with it, as long as you get it far away from me. Thank heavens it didn't bite us, Matthew. Snakes, just what this investigation needed. You're right, Matthew. We can't forget that Snake was sent to you specifically, and being there was nothing else. And being there was nothing else in the box. This was clearly a threat meant to rattle us. The Italians must be behind this. Maybe Vittorio himself. But we won't be intimidated off this investigation. Matthew, let us return to the crime scene. We'll solve this murder come what may. God, I cannot stand snakes. I've never seen a snake before. Actually, which may come as a surprise. Because in Hawaii, snakes are illegal. Matthew, Vinny's room should have been out of bounds for everyone, but I see you've still found an array of clues. You're right. There's a thread attached to the spiked horseshoe. It says, "You'll pay for this, Vinny." We must find out who sent it. Perhaps a sample of the dirty smudges on the note can tell us. And that leather journal has the initial CJ on it. Could it mean Catastrophe Joan? But what is Joan's journal doing here? Let's unlock it to find out more. You also found two hands of poker, which means Vinny had company when playing. That white powder might lead to his partner. We need a sample. Matthew, I still think Vittorio sent us that snake as a threat, but we won't let our attention wander. Let's get to work. And there it is. Of course, I will send a card to whomever likes this that is on my team. And we'll take care of everything right now. Matthew, let us put the substance from that note under the microscope. We need to know who threatened Vinny. cigarette ash. The sample from the threatening note is cigarette ash, Matthew, so whoever wrote this note must smoke. Keen observation. We know someone who not only smokes, but who also has a horse, Clay Westwood. Mr. Westwood was threatening our victim, and we need to discover why. We shall question him at once. Mr. Westwood, you said you knew nothing about Mr. Costa's murder, and yet we found your threat in his room. What was he to pay for? I guess you've nailed me to the counter, Senior Trooper Matthew. But he done me wrong. You see, when Costa was killing that farmer fella, he tried to escape using my horse. But my poor Bullseye couldn't make the jump over the fence and broke one of his legs. So you wanted Mr. Costa to pay for it. Too darn right. My horse is my pride. Where I come from, men go to battle for less. Not to mention, I've been offered the chance to do some trick riding for Buffalo Bill's show. No way I can do that now with a lame horse. Now, I'm just traveling from town to town trying to make a buck playing poker. So excuse me if I'm not sorry Costa's dead. $58425, yep. Boy, this is very, very, very tedious. There we go. Matthew, this journal appears to be full of Catastrophe Jones' bounty exploits. Except for this old newspaper article. Celebrated sheriff brutally murdered by Italian mobster Giovanni Costa. And underneath the article, Joan wrote, "Get revenge." Giovanni Costa? Wasn't that Vinny's father? We'd found out he was killed years ago by that priest back in New Haven. Catastrophe Joan was seeking revenge for something Vinny's father did, but he died at the hands of someone else. I wonder if she then decided to take out her retribution on Vinny. The only way to find out is to speak with Catastrophe Joan immediately. Joan, we found your journal, the one where you threatened revenge on Vinny's father. Did you decide the sins of the father would be visited upon the son and killed Vinny instead? Whoa there, Senior Trooper Matthew. Those are some serious accusations. I didn't kill Costa, though I did want to. His father murdered a dear friend of mine, someone I looked up to, the best darn sheriff and man I knew. Giovanni Costa slaughtered him in cold blood, and I could never forgive that. So you confronted Vinny about it. That's how your journal ended up in his room. I'll have you know, I was lodging in that room before you people put Costa there. I must have forgotten stuff when I was kicked out in a hurry. I tried bribing Al to stay at the saloon, offered him my signed Buffalo Bill poster because he's a fan, but he didn't budge. The truth is, I would have liked to off Costa, but someone got to him first, so you're barking up the wrong tree here, Senior Trooper Matthew. Got them all. Matthew, let us get the white powder from Vinny's cars to Viola immediately and find out who he was playing with. Get the results in the morning. See y'all then. Okay, folks. Come back. Let's get the results of the white powder. Matthew, I dare say we have a bit of a powder keg on our hands. What do you mean, Viola? You know that powder sample you collected from the poker cards in Vinny's room? I know who it belongs to, and you aren't going to like it. You see, it's a talc-based mix I myself concocted for Rose, for when her prosthetic rubs against her arm. Are you saying Rose was playing poker with Vinny instead of standing guard? Unbelievable. Let's go talk to her at once. Let's see what Rose Zhao has to say now. Rose, we found out you were playing poker with Vinny while you were supposed to have been watching him. And? My eyes weren't closed while we were playing. There wasn't much to do other than sit and wait. Might as well make it enjoyable. I hate to say this, but between this and you leaving Vinny unguarded to go out to the street, you've shown negligence in keeping him safe. Matthew, you don't trust me after all this time? I've got my own way of doing things, and I won't have you or anyone else calling me incompetent. I'm the security expert here. Rose, the last thing Matthew wants is to hold you under suspicion, but you're not helping your own case. Matthew Vittorio may have tried to scare us off with that snake, but instead we're closer than ever to catching Vinny's killer. Between Catastrophe Joan, who carried a grudge against Vinny for the murder his father had committed, and Clay Westwood, who was furious at Vinny for maiming his horse, we've got solid suspects. All we need is a few more clues, and we've got our killer. You're right, Matthew. We know the killer lured Rose outside with the explosion. They might have left more clues there. With the swiftness of a wild Mustang, let us go to Main Street. I'm gonna go for the first star. Hopefully it works out. Got the first star. Matthew, I knew coming back here was a good idea. Those pieces of glass are covered in blood. These shards could have come from the bottle the killer used to slice Vinny's throat open. We must put it back together. And being that time is of the essence, let us search the rubbish bin straight away.
So if I gave you a list of addresses, would you be able to tell us who made deliveries?
Sure, it would take a couple of weeks. Or if you get it on my computer, I only check about 5 to 6 addresses. These are your records. What can I say? It was a better sight for some of us business.
Mountie, this bloody shattered bottle must be our murder weapon, but the only way to confirm it is to send it to Viola.
Listen, can we take these?
Keep them. I can order them again. I'll tell them the cops took your records. Perfect excuse. These are the individual messenger receipts. The middle line is the line where the delivery was made.
We're never going to get through this in time. The statute of limitations runs out in 2 days. Yeah, but we just need to know if the messenger is sent to a particular address. But let's just look at the bill records. What was that? Name of the company where Neil used to work?
Magnitude Insurance Services.
That's what I thought. 4 delivers in the week before parade.
Okay, we got a messenger's name on this.
No. We never talked to Neil about customer service. Maybe this is Jonathan Ridley.
Your old company took forward the
Mountie, that's a rather odd key you found on that rubbish. It's got Fat Chance Saloon written on it. You're right. Fat Chance Saloon is where Vinny was staying. Could this be the key to the killer used to open the door? If anyone will recognize a counterfeit key, it's Diego. Let's ask him to have a look at this. See y'all then when this is over. Okay, folks, we have come back. Let's get the results of the broken bottle and put a killer behind bars, and the last two, I should say. Fill it of a fenny snake, and the cauldron boil and bake. I had quite enough snakes for the day, Viola, thank you. Indeed, so have I. Unimaginable. What happens on this ship? What will be next? But I can answer at least some of life's puzzling questions. The bloody bottle you sent me is indeed your murder weapon. I tested the blood on the shattered rim and it matches that of your victim. The killer used this bottle to slice his throat wide open. Knowing the killer must have held the bottle by the neck, I tested the area for any biological traces, and I found one. The faint skin traces left on the bottle indicate your killer is a male. So our killer is a man. Matthew is certainly a dead man walking with you hot on their trail. Talk to Diego. Madeline, I've heard you and Mr. Dupont have become romantically entangled. Surely you do not forsake me so. I regret it isn't me playing the dashing knight to your damsel in distress. Right. Well, Diego, we need to know about that key we found. Was it a duplicate made to open the victim's room? Not just the victim's room. This is the saloon's master key. It opens every door there. Matthew, the killer must have stolen that key from the saloon. That's how they got into Vinny's room. Indeed, which is why when I discovered some minuscule red fibers attached to the key, I asked your theatrical Miss Pemberton to examine them. And she said the red fibers on the key are from clothing. Your killer is donning the color red. Our killer is wearing the color red. Matthew, this red-hot lead will point us straight to them. Matthew, it's time to arrest Vinny's killer. Let us spare no time. Definitely not Rose. And it's not Al Salucci. It's not Franco Capesci. It isn't Catastrophe Joan. It is Clay Westwood. Clay Westwood, you're under arrest for the murder of Vinny Costa. Did you actually kill him because he maimed your horse? I beg your pardon, ma'am? I've never killed anybody in my life, and Bullseye can attest to that. Is that so? Then why do we find your Buffalo Bill watch fob covered in Vinny's blood? I do love Buffalo Bill, as any self-respecting cowboy should. But as for the rest, I couldn't tell you. Try to tell us why we found your poker tournament handkerchief in the bomb you set up to lure our guard away and kill Vinny. I'm a man of many pastimes, but bomb crafting isn't one of them. But I suppose drinking is, like the whiskey punch we found in the victim's hair. Or the broken alcohol bottle that you used to gouge Vinny's throat wide open. Ma'am, Fine, I'll quit beating the devil around the stump. Yes, I killed Costa. That man was going to ruin everything the Italians are trying to set up here, and I couldn't let that happen. So you did this because of the Italians? I knew Vinny's death had to be linked to Vittorio somehow, Matthew. I wasn't always on their side, mind you. When I saw them folks' lands being stolen away from them, I got angry. I looked for the Italians, ready to commit them to the Bone Orchard. But then they told me Vittorio's plan to bring in the railroad, which meant more people, more farms, more work. I'd be able to make a decent living again. So you killed Vinny to silence his testimony against Vittorio? Darn right I did. Wasn't even hard. Just had to steal Al's master key and distract that copper away. And I don't regret it. Capecchi was going to make Coyote Gorge great again, and I wasn't going to let a good-for-nothing maggot ruin that. Well, Mr. Westwood, you won't be enjoying Coyote Gorge's greatness anytime soon, because now you'll be an inmate. You're under arrest. Mr. Clay Westwood, you stand accused of the murder of Vinny Costa. How do you plead? Your Honor, I'm guilty as charged, but I did it for the sake of all Coyote Gorge. Capecchi has great plans for this here place of ours, and Costa was going to get in the way. Mr. Westwood, Vittorio Capecchi is a notorious mob leader and someone we've been trying to arrest for quite some time. By murdering our sole witness against Mr. Capecchi, not only have you committed a crime, you've obstructed justice, which is a grave disservice to all Concordians. I have no stomach for the disregard of law and order that you have displayed, sir. With that, I sentence you to 25 years in prison. I'll take my punishment, but someone please look after my dear Bullseye for me. Matthew, I can't believe Clay Westwood believes in Vittorio's lies enough to kill a man. Vittorio will improve life in Coyote Gorge. What nonsense. He only cares about his own power, and he'll remove any obstacle in his way. Just look at the way everyone in Providence Town suddenly packed up and left town. I bet you anything Vittorio was behind that too. He was. Matthew, I know why everyone left town. Vittorio and his men are on the street. He's challenging us to a showdown. What? Holy God. Like the good old Western days. Road Zal was clear from the start, thank goodness. Al Salucci, no red. Franca Capecchi, a woman. Catastrophe Joan, clear after clue 3. It was Clay Westwood who killed Vinny Costa. I'll see you guys for Once Upon a Time in the East, 5-6. Welcome back, folks. It's now time for Once Upon a Time in the East 5-6, so let's go now. Matthew, Vittorio's coming. He's challenged us to a showdown. A showdown with the squad? Who does he think he is? A scoundrel as always, but I fear we cannot escape this. We'll have to fight. Don't you worry, though. I've set up everything we need in the street. There's an entire trunk of weapons waiting for you there, Matthew. Well, Matthew, I guess there's no backing off. Let's go set up in the street before Vittorio and his goons get there. And as I am playing this, I also want to send out my best wishes to one of my classmates who was killed in a car crash today. Nice, another 10,000. Matthew, this must be the trunk of arms Rose prepared for us. You'd better open it up quickly. I can hear Vittorio's horses getting closer. I'll cover you. Okay. 3, 7, 6, 9, 7. Okay. That's it. I found that out on the news today. The crash I'm speaking of. Killed one of my classmates too. May he rest in peace. This is perfect. There are enough weapons in this trunk for all of us, Matthew. And just in time, I see Vittorio approaching. Get ready, Matthew. It's time to face him once and for all. It's time to take him on. Senior Trooper Matthew, your time has come. Our game of cat and mouse ends here. You're right, Vittorio, it does. But it'll end with you in jail. We know all about your money schemes and murderous ways. You must have known your greed would catch up to you at some point. Ha! You think this is my end? In this world, there's two kinds of people. Those with loaded guns and those who dig graves. And we didn't bring our shovels. Neither did we. Matthew, quick! Take an ammunition belt. As the shoots continue. Matthew, are you alright? I think I got one of them in the arm. They're tending to their wounded. That leaves us time to... Oh my god! Matthew, I think I need help. Evie? What are you doing here? You've been shot! I told her to stay in the airship, but she wouldn't listen. Matthew, we need to take her inside immediately before she bleeds to death. Matthew, let me help. I'll take Evie to safety, and then you and I can fetch Richard to tend to her wound. Thank you, Diego. You got here just in time. But Matthew, we also need to gather more ammunition before Vittorio's men start shooting again, or we'll be sitting ducks. You're right. Perhaps you can find what we need in the saloon. Let's go have a look, quickly. Oh, Evie, you... What are we going to do with you? That's for you, Ziggy. May God rest your soul. Matthew, we didn't find any bullets, but perhaps it could be some in that cabinet. Let's open it up and see. gonna go back to the cat. Matthew, unfortunately there weren't any bullets in this cabinet. But with all this metal, we could melt it and make our own ammunition. It'd be enough to finish the showdown against Vittorio. Let us get this metal to Charlie immediately. If anyone will know how to turn it into ammunition, it'll be him. Matthew, I heard the gunshots. Is everyone alright? No, Evie's been shot. We've brought her to you. She needs urgent care. Evie's been shot? This is dreadful timing. I'm completely out of anesthetics. Anesthetics? Matthew, I know exactly where we can find some. I've been to Al's saloon before. He has medical kits in every room for when fights break out. Perfect. Matthew, I'll start treating Evie's wound. If you find that medical kit, I can operate on her. Better make sure I transfer these videos. I'm already down about 10 minutes of film time in this. There we are. Matthew, Evie was the first person to trust me in a long time. She's been a good friend to me, and the thought of her not making it through this... Oh, but you found the medical kit. Let's find the anesthetic so Richard can operate on Evie. Aha! Matthew, this bottle you found in the medical kit looks like what we need, but we can't risk it. Let's dust the faded label. Hurry! Morphine sulfate poison? Eureka, Matthew! This is morphine! Richard will be able to numb Evie's pain and extract the bullet. Let's get this bottle to Richard now. And I'll let these two run their courses. For now, this is Matthew. See y'all then. Back now, folks. Let's get the results of this first. Matthew, thanks to your swift action in finding that morphine, I was able to extract the bullet in Evie's chest without her feeling much. Is she alright? Fortunately, the bullet missed her vital organs. I've stopped the bleeding and sewn her up. I set Evie up in the saloon so she could lie down. Matthew, I came here as soon as I could. Is Evie alright? Miss Wolf? How did you get here without being shot down by Vittorio? I arrived in town before they did, hoping to cover the hostilities, but then I heard Evie had been hurt. Worry not, Evie will be fine. As a matter of fact, we can all go see her now, Matthew. Matthew, where am I? You were shot, Evie. Richard removed the bullet and we've placed you in the hotel so you can rest. How is everyone? And why do I feel like I'm floating? Everyone else is fine, and your sensation of floating is due to the high dose of morphine you've been administered in order to subdue your pain. It sure feels nice. Evie, you're alright. I've never been happier to see anyone awake. Catherine, you're here, and you brought a unicorn with you. You're so pretty. I always get butterflies when you're around. Or is that the morphine? I'm fairly certain it's the morphine speaking, my dear, but we can revisit this once the effects wear off, should you still be interested. I hope so. Matthew, I'm famished. Any chance you could find us something to eat? I could use the energy. Matthew, do you have a moment? Evie's getting shot has made me think about my place on this team. From the start, I held you all at arm's length because I feared helping you would mean leaving my old life behind. But these events made me realize that I'm already a part of this team, except nobody, including myself, has wanted to admit it. So I feel there's no point in pretending anymore. I'm officially putting in a request to join the flying squad as a consultant. I hope it'll go through. Perhaps you can put in a good word for me. Will do. And now let's finish up this. Matthew, thanks to that medal you brought me, I've got new bullets ready for you. I knew we could count on you. Where are they? Actually, they're already downstairs. I used the shot tower technique to make them. It's very easy, actually. It can be accomplished by dropping melted metal from a high altitude. As it falls through the air, the metal cools in a perfect spherical shape, thus turning into lead shot. Charlie, as fascinating as this is, we're in a hurry. Where is the ammunition? Rose gathered the bullets as they fell in the street. She's waiting for you in the saloon. Perfect. Matthew, let's go see Rose. Matthew, Charlie's fabricated enough ammunition for us to face Vittorio again. I've got it all here. That's excellent news, Rose, but we didn't fare so well the first time around, and our poor Evie was injured. I worry we're outnumbered. Fear not, I've taken care of that. I've recruited help. You have? Who? Howdy, Senior Trooper Matthew. I'm glad my sharpshooting skills can be of service to you. Catastrophe Joan? But I thought you and Rose were enemies. Joan and I have decided to set aside our differences in order to take down Vittorio. I'm feeling more confident already. We'd better get ready. Vittorio might resume his attack any minute now. I'm always ready to fight the bad guys, Senior Trooper Matthew, but before we go, take this dinero to bury the hatchet. Matthew, how's Evie doing? Will she be alright? Evie will be fine. Richard removed the bullet and cleaned her wound. Nothing that a little bed rest and romance can't cure now. Romance? Evie? With whom? Never mind, Matthew is right. We don't have time. With Evie out of harm's way and our stock of freshly fabricated ammunition, we're ready to go back out and face Vittorio one last time. Alright team, the time has come again. Matthew, let us show Vittorio who's in charge here. Back again, Senior Trooper Matthew. Bravo, you're braver than I thought. Don't be so smug, Vittorio. You're not getting out of this one. So I start saying my prayers to whomever you think can save you from this. Madeline, all talk, no action. What did I say, gentlemen? If you're waiting for a woman to make up her mind, you may have a long wait. I think you'll find your wait is over, Vittorio. Ladies, fire! Vittorio? Vittorio! Come out from wherever you're hiding. Matthew, I don't see Vittorio anywhere. Could he be gone? Quickly, let's search the area. Wonder if he chickened out like a little bitch. Cool. Another 400 XP. Matthew, this is Vittorio's hat. And look, it's covered in blood. So we managed to hit him, but he still got away. You're right, Vittorio and his goons must have retreated back to his hacienda. Matthew's telling me we went to the wolf's lair. Let's go end this once and for all. Sorry guys, my tablet ran out of room, but that was all, thank goodness. Alright. Pretty sure the case is not going to be open for a while. Is that a Thursday? Yes. Oh no, it's a Tuesday. Okay. So in 3 days. Cool. I'll see you guys then. But first of all, I gotta check out to see. Five new stickers. Two new ones. Three new ones. Four new ones. And Wolf settled the score with Vittorio Capesci in 3 days. See you all for case 30.